Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Matic then. So I'm sorry I didn't make a video yesterday and my video's a little bit late tonight. In fact, bloody hell is at the time, it's really late actually. So it's I've got stuff going on at home and my daughter's not very well, blah blah blah. Anyway, everything's fine at home now, so let's carry on and make a quick video. Right, so we'll start off with Bitcoin just very briefly. So Bitcoin is basically going sideways, completely sideways. However, in doing that, it's creeping out of this descending trend in a not, I wouldn't say constructive way. We're on the 4-hourly chart for some reason. I wouldn't say it's in a especially constructive way. When you look at it on the daily, it doesn't look as good, but when you look at it on the 4-hourly, it's holding up okay. And to be honest with you, there is a chance that it actually would go bullish, but that doesn't mean bullish continuation reversal. That's not what it means. It means that we could go up for another leg, pushing up to the high 7,000s. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details of that. There's a million people on YouTube to talk to you about Bitcoin. My overall thoughts on Bitcoin, however, just to get it out there, is that the overall direction is continuing to be down. I do expect it to be coming down, and that doesn't mean it's going to come down instantly. We could easily make our legs up to this level here, which would be revisiting this high. It's also revisiting this moving average here. We could also be moving up to the top of the Bollinger Band and just above that, which would coincide with the green 50 exponential moving average, which is around about 7,672 at the moment as we speak right now. Obviously that's descending, so that resistance will also be descending too, and then probably be rejected from there, and then it depends if we get supported upon this, and if we rest upon it as we did on this occasion when we had this large wick above here. So I still do believe that our overall direction is down, but that isn't without some more bullish moves. You know, we could easily see bullish moves on this one, but again, overall direction is definitely down in my book, but this is that's long term anyway. Right, so that's Bitcoin out the way. Like I say, it's a bit of an overview. Let's look at Matic then, because Matic's the one that's being interesting right now. And there's a lot of people, and for good reason, think that Matic's going to continue with this move and revisit some of these highs. I'm not convinced on that one. So we look on the 4-hourly chart. What do we see? We see a death cross that took place here. That death cross is on the 4-hourly. Now, a lot of these indicators are basically going to lie to you, because with a move like this where we crash down 70%, I mean, basically all indicators are kind of, they don't really mean anything anymore. It's a broken chart. You know, it's written off. It's difficult to read. So one thing I would say about this, other than the fact that we've got a death cross here, which doesn't really count for much, we have to go down to the lower time frames. And what we see here is we see a golden cross just form on the hourly chart, and I would never ever really have look at that and say that means anything. But when we're talking about a coin which likes to make big moves in small time frames, I suppose looking at these sort of things, I wouldn't say they're relevant, but they do hold some. They probably do. There might be something to it as far as continuation is concerned. So we had this here. Now we had this golden cross here, but this whole area here, I have to let you know that this whole area of which was basically accumulation is very different. What is going on here? That whole area is very, very different, and it can't be. You can't really interpret that in the same way of what's happening here. What's happening now is a bounce. It's a Matic bounce. We had Matic bounces before. When we came out of the parabolic top, we crashed all the way back down. We sort of bounced from here. Let's have a measure of that wick, and we'll see how that measured out. So the green wick from top to bottom was a 58% move. We also bounced from this level here up to the top here, which was a 53% move. We also bounced from this level here all the way up to here, which was a 61% move. What are we doing right now? We are bouncing from this bottom level here to this level here, which is a 62% move. So I am kind of thinking that this move may actually be topping out really, as it is a bounce move. It's not a reversal. It's not a continuation of this, even though you could argue that this golden cross on the daily is still playing out, because we have not got a death cross. So you could argue that, and in many ways you could be that could be valid in saying that. But with a move like this, which cannot be accounted for in technical analysis, a lot of these things from this point here are completely rendered obsolete, and we are simply moving on bounces here. Well, like the way that we bounced here, I would expect to see large bounces like the one we've got right now, and then new lows, bounces and new lows. And that's probably how this one's going to play out. It's being very generous as it had done in the past, when we came out of that parabolic move. Now, the one thing I would say is that that's different is that this was a FOMO move, so there was no TA to say that this was going to happen. Not strong TA, the TA that I would go by, and the TA that I kind of, and I'm not saying that a lot of people saw this coming, but that we predicted, because we had this accumulation zone above the green 50 exponential, basically leading up to this golden cross, which caused basically a bullish move. We didn't have that here. We had basically a FOMO, but coming out of that FOMO was a kind of very generous, relatively constructive bounces before our inevitable crash back down, to form our actual lowest low after the parabolic move, just below a cent. And then we had another, that move, if I remember rightly, that move was born out of Coinbase's announcement that they may be listing it. So we were kind of rescued by simple news at that level. But that kind of, like I say, petered out again. So we have these generous bounces that we get with Matic, and then we break the descending trend, forming this accumulation pattern here, which led to this big move here. So that said, historically this is all we've got to go by on Matic, and what we can say is Matic does like to do very big bounces of over 50%, roughly we could call it about 60% bounces before a retrace back down to a lower low after a parabolic move. This is close to a parabolic move. When you see these two big spikes here together, it's you could probably say that was parabolic. Anyway. I would expect that if we hadn't been rejected at this level here, which would have been our first opportunity to be rejected, that would be the 200 EMA. We smashed right through that. Staying above there for a prolonged period of time would avoid the death cross, which was definitely incoming at a fast approaching rate. So the fact that we've, like I say, for the moment we've slowed that down and maybe avoiding that is a good thing. And we've not actually been significantly rejected from any level currently. So this is in keeping with the way that Matic likes to do these big bounces, very big bounces, but we've still not found that rejection point yet. I think the rate that it's going now, the first opportunity now to be clearly rejected would be on this area here. That's 1.9 cent. That's the green 50 exponential moving average on the daily, which had a lot of significance when we were trending above it, turning as support. We also, when stuck beneath it, found it as a significant rejection level when we get stuck beneath it. And technically we are beneath it now, so I would expect to see a rejection from it, to be honest with you. Now we'll go down to a smaller time frame. We'll go down to a 4-hourly. So the 4-hourly is where we did have a death cross, and 4-hourlies do generally count for something. This death cross obviously forced into play by this giant move down. Looks as though if we carry on this way, and we break above these levels that, like I was saying, we should be getting rejected at this level, 1.9 area. That's kind of where the 200 exponential is on the 4-hourly, but it's also where the 50 is on the daily. Probably getting rejected around that level there. Also, that's beneath the 2 cent level, so if we did find a wick up to the 2 cent, probably get rejected. So this area is going to be a very significant, very sensitive area. I would expect to see Matic get rejected. See this big red cloud? This is an entire resistance cloud, an absolute massive thick beast of a cloud, which would actually start to end in the coming, is that right? In the next couple of days, by Monday we'll be out of there if we stay at this level, or just below. And actually, you can see how that cloud coincides with this this magic number that we've always had in play for Matic, which is the 2.7 cent level. So it's interesting that levels out exactly with that 2.7 that we had in there for quite a while ago. Actually, we've had that. That's if you follow my channel, you'd recognise that number as a kind of a magic number for us to go and double in our value, which we didn't double. We came close to doubling. Anyway, that's me rambling on a bit there. So yeah, basically, we could see continuation of this move, but not for a great deal longer. 1.9 cent to between 1.9 and 1.2. I would expect to see our first significant rejection, and I do believe that this is nothing more than a bounce, in keeping with the way that Matic likes to bounce and make big, bold bounces, basically. So let's not get too excited. But if you're riding this wave out, or if you're one of those long-term investors and you wanted to buy back down here, which I did say was a good level to buy at, it's its first opportunity for a reversal, that is on a video that I made. If you don't believe me, feel free to just go back about, what day is it today, the 21st or something? Yeah, go back about 6 days from now. I made it on the 15th anyway, and I did say that if this level gets hit, this is where we were going to bounce from, and we kind of have bounced from there, to be honest with you. I didn't buy any on this one, because I like to base my trades on specific TA, and with a move like this, it's very, very scary. It's definitely too much of a gamble, so I left this one alone. And it's not that I regret it. I'm one of those people, one of those traders that sticks to the rules, my rules, the rules that I make for myself, the rules that generally work for me. And this wouldn't have been one of those rules for me, unfortunately. But obviously I'm kicking myself a little bit because this is a big bold move, but I do expect a rejection. And given the fact that this happened, and Matic is a margin tradable coin now, so people can make as much money going up as coming down, so there's incentive to bring this back down again, definitely. And you can see that on this occasion there had been a lot of money made short in this asset, and remember, back in the day, at this point it wasn't margin tradable. This was just FOMO, exchange money. So when it came back down again, those bounces were a little bit more, I wouldn't say healthy, but this is just people buying and actually selling off, going into Bitcoin or going into Tether or whatever. On this one is not going to be this. This isn't that at all. This is people making money on the way down. It's a completely it's turbocharged red candle. That is deadly to anyone that's holding this coin or margin trading this coin. This is deadly, and this is what I would expect to see when the bounces bounces over. We would probably begin to see not little staggered daily candles like this coming down, but big fat red ones coming down, maybe taking it further down to its previous lows of 1 cent or so. I could be wrong on this one. It's very difficult to chart this coin, especially with these new dynamics of margin trading for a coin which is already extremely volatile. But my expectation is that this is not a reversal, and this is a bounce that is very in keeping with the way that Matic moved in the past. These bounces could be a lot bigger than this, because, like I say, it's margin tradable now on the biggest platform, which would be Binance. We are currently 64 almost % up from that bounce. If we could make it to the green 50 exponential, where it stands at the moment, we're talking 70%, which would be an enormous bounce. But again, the only other thing I would say is that when we bounced from this first wick at the bottom there to the top here, that was just in between the 1.9 cent and the 2 cent level, and I do think that this is just the rejection point. People probably looking, the people with a bit more savvy about them might be looking to front run this area, so selling or beginning to stack their shorts up around just before 1.9 cent, because this is an obvious level because of this wick specifically, where we were rejected from the most recent top of the rejection levels recently. That's where we were rejected from. So there might be a lot of people thinking, well, we'll sell there. I mean, that's not what will be allowed to happen if the people with the big bags choose to do it first. That's not going to happen there. It's going to happen just before. So the green 50 exponential, currently at 1.9 cent, probably just below that, would be a safe opportunity to probably get out of this and maybe form a top. But again, it's very difficult for me to say. Yeah, the TA on this one is something that's, like, and I've said it before, it's going to be very difficult to work this one out. Yes, I managed to call the bottom on this, but I wasn't confident enough to take it myself. I was confident enough to put it out on a video for people to see, but for me personally, even that was too much of a risk. For me to say that this is going to be where it's rejected from, it might not be the case at all. It might completely go back and all the way up to the top and more, and then come back crashing back down again. Anything is possible. But going on what we've got, which is not very much, going on what we've got, I would expect it not to get any further than 2 cent, probably be rejected before 2 cent, maybe even rejected at that 1.9 cent exactly, just before this wick here where we were rejected. Anyway, that's all I've got for you right now. Like I say, you know, it was a decent bounce, but I do believe that's all it is. Just as we bounced all these other times, and when we do see bounces with Matic, we see quite volatile bounces. It's a coin that likes to make big moves, clearly in both directions. So right now, I think the overall trend for it is probably going to continue to go down given enough time before it goes back up, because the chart is broken basically, and the coin is broken. So enjoy the bounces for what they're worth, but for me personally, I'm not getting involved with it right now. I need it to level out before I make any decisions about it, and this is far from level. It's the opposite of leveling out. It's all over the place. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so this isn't a financial advice, but like I say, you know, trade at your own risk. This coin can make you a lot of money. It could also cause you a lot of pain. So yeah, just be careful. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice evening. Take it easy.